Good morning. We are 6 days away from the election, and we're watching the seats in the House that could flip next week. Pollster Justin Wallin is back with some of the vulnerable GOP races. Good morning. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Good morning,
We're going to go ahead and take a look at this. You can see there are 17 seats needed to flip the majority. And if we focus here on some of these states specifically, let's go ahead and start off with Arizona, specifically District 6. Now, Arizona Democrats have been making progress here over the years. Do you think that's going to be enough?
No, it's an interesting district. It's a bit of a challenge for Republicans. I mean, albeit Trump won it by 10%, the incumbent won it by 10% in 2018. But the incumbent does have problems insofar as his challenger has more cash. The incumbent's exiting a tough House ethics investigation that did not go well. And as you mentioned, the district is kind of tilting more and more. It's urban, so it tilts more and more Democratic. Polling historically has given a slight edge to the incumbent. However, while it recently shows even, I do think gravity stays red. I do think the district stays red in this case.
Okay. Let's go ahead to California 25 right now. And if a Republican is to win in this county, you say it should be here. Why?
Yeah, that's right. Well, remember Katie Hill. Katie Hill is the Democratic former congressperson who flipped the seat from Republican Steve Knight back in 2018 and then resigned within the same term because of some personal shenanigans. However, this seat in L.A. County, Democratic L.A. County, is home. It's a bedroom community to police and firefighters. It's also has a robust aerospace and defense industry, has an independent streak. So this seat, I think of any seat, is most likely to go Republican if any seat in L.A. County is going to. Both candidates are highly credible, has a significant Latino population. Latinos don't reflexively vote Democratic, at least not in massive blocks. Polling here is all over the map, so it's just too difficult to tell. It's all partisan polling. I think this one we have to leave as a complete toss-up.
All right, let's go to Minnesota 1 right now. And I was reading some of your notes that you sent in earlier about these districts, and you say marijuana could be a factor here. Explain that.
Yeah, well, marijuana as an industry is all grown up. And in Minnesota, marijuana has their own candidate with their own political party, a third-party candidate. In this race, it's more or less a rematch because the Democrat and Republican are facing off again, same candidates from 2018. It's a Republican-held seat, of course. But this third-party candidate, albeit not going to win in any way, shape, or form, but it's going to siphon off votes. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. All the polling shows the Republican and Democratic candidates absolutely in a dead heat. So it's just too close to call and see where that one will fall out.
Okay. Missouri 2, the president won this one by more than 10%. What do you think happens here?
Yeah, it should go towards the Republican candidate, but this is the most mercurial district of all the ones that we're talking about simply because there's a dearth of information. The last poll was done in mid-September. It showed the race in a dead heat. It's just almost impossible to tell which way this one's going to go. Okay,
New York 24, rematch from 2018. What do you see happening here?
This one is fun. It's of course it's a district that Clinton won. It's held by a Republican. It is a rematch, facing again his opponent from 2018, who he beat by 6 points. All the polling here is gold-plated, very credible polling, and it's recent, so it should really give us a great trend line. And that polling primarily shows a dead heat. But there's one poll that gives the incumbent, Katko, an 8-point advantage. It's hard to see that as anything but an outlier. The smart money remains on this being a dead heat this far out in just a few days, but there might be a little bit going towards the Republican there.
Interesting. Okay, and then finally, we'll end it with Texas, specifically 21. Look, you have Democrats all across the country saying Texas is going to go blue. Do you think this is the one to do it?
Well, if it were, you'd think this one would be it. I mean, the seat is home to Austin, which is has a more progressive reputation. But Texas is, it's its own independent place, and Austin is its own independent place. And the seat going blue is by no means a given. It was held for 30 years by a Republican, and before it was taken over by Republican incumbent Roy in 2018. So the polling gives a trend towards Roy. I think this stays red, even though he has to kind of answer for being vocally against disaster relief this year and last year. I think this one stays in the red column.
All right, Justin Wallin, love your insight. Thanks for joining us again today.